On top of all that, there's still the Iran deal, which apparently Joe Biden plans to say to Iran, remember the deal we made with you where you got the airplane full of money and hundreds of billions of dollars in sanctions relief? Well, we can do that deal again. I think that's the way that he plans to have it go. I thought we'd talk about that with Lieutenant Colonel James Carafano, who's an expert in national security and foreign policy challenges with the Heritage Foundation. Colonel, it's good to have you back on the show. Happy New Year.
It's good to be with you.
So tell me this, is Biden simply going to, a new Biden administration, simply going to be God's gift to the mad mullahs of Tehran?
Well, that's what they've said, but here's why this really flags, a concern for me. The Biden team has been pretty unequivocal that they haven't said much about foreign policy in the debate. They said almost nothing. But they were pretty unequivocal that they want to go back to the Iran deal without preconditions. Now, here's the Iran deal only benefits Iran. So you would think that the regime in Tehran would be ecstatic and they would just basically sit on their hands and wait for this gift to be given to them.
Yeah.
They're not doing that. What they've actually been doing is getting increasingly aggressive. They recently seized an oil tanker. They allegedly put a mine on another oil tanker. They've been encouraging the groups in Iraq, the militias in Iraq, to attack Americans. They've sent a whole bunch of signals that they're actually getting more aggressive. And the most worrying signal of all is they announced that they're going to increase uranium enrichment to 20%. So uranium is stuff, right? You take it in the natural environment, you spin it, you make it more pure. You can use that for a nuclear reactor. And then if you get it even more pure, you can use it for a nuclear bomb. Right. So they said they're going to go to 20% enrichment. That is way more than what you need for a nuclear reactor. It's a gross violation of the Iran deal, and it is 90% of the work that you need to make a bomb. So to make a bomb, you need 90% enrichment, but it's like climbing Mount Everest. The hard part's the first 20%. So virtually they are on the edge of declaring that they will make physical material for a nuclear bomb. So why are they doing that if they're going to get this sweetheart deal? Well, the answer is because they want to go back into the deal with the most humiliating terms possible for the United States and to make clear everybody in the region that they're the tough guys and they put the Biden team in their place. That, I think, is a disaster for the region. It's disastrous for stability. It's a disaster for everything we've done in the last 4 years to make the Middle East more secure so it's a place that we don't have to worry about.
Well, and are they doing that because they figure if we walk in, since Biden's already committed, we're going to do it without preconditions. If we walk in and say, well, you're going to have to accept certain givens, and one of those givens is this much enrichment to 20%. I think power plants are 3 or 4%, aren't they, Colonel?
Right.
And as you said, bombs are 90% plus. So if they walk in and say, we've got all these givens, now they're going to effectively double dog dare Joe Biden and his team to turn them down, because if he turns them down, then everybody in the United States who wanted us back in the Iran deal, not me, not you, is going to say, well, hold on, you said you were going to do a deal with them. Yeah, but they walked in with in effect, with pre-existing conditions, with, where Biden has no preconditions. The Iran precondition is we're at 20% and you won't say boo to us about it, will you?
Well, I mean, they've already demonstrated the Iran deal is useless. Remember, the promise of the Iran deal from the Obama administration is this ends our concerns about an Iranian nuclear program.
For 10 years.
If they can just jump.
Right.
If they can just jump to doing 20% enrichment, it just shows that the Iran deal had no teeth. And it is no real constraint on the Iranian nuclear program. It's a joke that it was. Not only did Trump kind of call the bluff on the Iran deal, but he spent 4 years. He crushed ISIS. He brought the Arabs and the Israelis together to normalize relations so they could work on collective defense and economic.
Took out Soleimani.
Right, all the things to put Iran in a small box so they're not a threat to everybody else. I don't understand what you get out of the Iran deal. It lets them do arms deals. It gives them access to billions of dollars. They can go back to taking that cash and funneling it to the war they were running in Syria, to the Houthis in Yemen, to the Palestinians, to Hezbollah. All these people are on the ropes now because the Iranians can't really support them. And, it's not like throwing gasoline on the fire. It's the opposite of that. It's throwing fire on the gasoline. Nothing's burning, and Biden's answer is, let me throw a Molotov cocktail in there and see what happens.
Well, because Colonel, if Biden's team was sensible, and I don't know that they are, they would say, but if we walk in and you give us those givens, 20%, it's a non-starter. But they have to have the guts to refuse to do a deal. I mean, it'd be like if you told your wife, sweetie, I'm going to go down and buy a new pickup truck, but I'm not paying one dime past $40,000. And you walk onto the car lot and the car dealer says, Colonel, I'll sell you a pickup truck, but you're not going to pay $1 less than $45,000. You have to decide. Do I go home and tell my wife, I said I'd hold it to $40,000, but I had to go to 45, and I just had to do it. If the dealer knows that and he squeezes you, you walk off the lot or drive off the lot with a $45,000 pickup truck and probably an angry wife, but you committed to making the deal. So you don't have many choices. I mean, I guess that's the way I see it from my simplistic point of view.
Yeah,
and it sounds like
that's exactly right. Look, Trump has already demonstrated that we can be perfectly safe with no deal. So what's the reason to rush back to the deal? The only reason to go back to a deal with Iran is if you get one that actually addresses the issues. And if the Biden team is smart, what they will do is they'll hold out for a deal which actually addresses all our concerns. That would be the smart play.
And Colonel, from what I've heard,
they're well positioned to do that.
Somebody gave me a number the other day and said the Iran government was literally down to a few $1 billion in the bank, $9 or $10 billion, which for a country, I mean, that wouldn't run a decent-sized state in the United States. They're really on the ropes. So the Biden team could be in the catbird seat to make a great deal for the world and for the United States national security, but it sounds like they're not going to do it. That's Lieutenant Colonel James Carafano, a national security and foreign policy expert at Heritage. Colonel, it is a pleasure to have you on the program as always. Thank you so much for the time.